Hi, welcome to Yoga with Lauren Slater. Today's practice is focusing on lower body, seated poses, and winding down your practice if you've already done our standing series. Starting in child's pose. Bring your feet together, your knees as wide as the hips. Stretch your arms forward and sit all the way back to your heels. Start to lower your forehead to the mat. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Continue to feel the weight of your head and the weight of your hips, little by little, releasing and letting go. Gently draw the abdominals in. Walk your hands over to the right side of the mat or slightly off. And then placing left hand over the right, twist your chest towards the right knee and pull your hips back to your heels. Allow your head to fall to the window of the arms. Breathe deeply now into the sides of your rib cage on the left side. Lift yourself slightly up, walk over to the other side. And again, elongate yourself along the left diagonal. Pull the hips back towards your heels and let your head fall. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Walk your hands back to center. Rise up onto all fours. Thread the needle. Raise the left arm up to the ceiling. Take a deep breath in. And then dive your arm down, sliding onto the side of your shoulder, laying down to the shoulder. And then walk your right hand over the crown of the head, tenting up onto those fingertips, and pull the weight of your hips slightly back. You can always move your head forward a little bit to create some more space for the neck, and then draw stomach in and push down to the length of the left arm. If you have no pressure in your neck, you can raise your right hand, wrap and bind, right hand to left thigh, and push your thighs slightly back. Breathing into the back side of the left shoulder and pulling the ribs around to the right. Release the right hand back by your face. Come all the way up the same way you started. Swing the left arm up, circle it around, and reach right leg back. Lift the right leg and bend at the knee. Swing the left hand back towards the inside of your ankle or foot. Pull the stomach in and start to kick your foot up towards the ceiling. Keep your hips as square as possible and lift up out of the right shoulder. Slowly extend the arm and leg back out and lower the hand and foot. Thread the needle on the other side. Move your hand slightly forward. Raise the right arm up and dive the right arm under the left wrist. Land on the side of your shoulder. Pick your head up and move it forward, and then walk the left fingertips over the top of the head. Continue to feel your hips pull back as you slowly twist onto the right shoulder, but make sure that you're pressing the floor away to protect the bottom shoulder. Lift the left arm up if you did on the first side. Wrap and bind, hand to the crease of the right thigh, and press your thigh bones back as you rotate the ribs to the ceiling. Make sure that you focus on slowly and steadily breathing into between the ribs and to the intercostals. Opening up the back side of the shoulder. Release the left hand back by your face. Come all the way up the way you began. Circle the arm around and reach the left leg out. Raise your left foot, bend at the knee and reach for the inside of your foot. And then pull the abdominals in, kick your foot up and back, square the hips, and lift up out of your standing limbs. Slowly extend arm and leg out and lower them down. Ustrasana camel pose. Take your mat if you need more protection for your knees and fold it over once. Come up onto your double fold or a blanket if you have one. Tuck the toes under. And then from there, place the hands like a W across your lower back. Pull the tailbone under like a dog with the tail between the legs. Lift up out of the rib cage and start to gently press your hips forward to your chest and elbows back, keeping your chin tucked to protect your neck. And then lift up to the sternum and take a full breath in and out there. Use your stomach to support the space between the discs in your back. and then slowly stack back up. Take a rest. Staying like that, if that's plenty, or reaching back towards your feet for the second round. Think of squeezing the inner thighs slightly together. Press the hips forward, lift the chest up, and then circle one arm at a time back, touching your heels. And if you don't touch, just return the hands to lower back. Either stay there or working towards cupping the heels with your hands, pushing the chest to the ceiling, and maybe let the head go back. Continue to use your stomach and breathe. To come out of it, slightly shift your weight back and then push off of your feet, lift from your stomach and stack back up. Release your toes and sit back towards your heels. Taking your mat and unfolding it once again, find your way into downward facing dog. Tread the feet out a few times, bending one knee at a time, stretch them out. And then coming into pigeon pose, Eka Pada Raj Kapotasana. That one's a mouthful. You're going to raise your left leg up, step your left foot forward, landing your shin towards the mat. Work on bringing your knee towards the left wrist or a little bit wider. And then don't worry about where your foot goes. But if, again, it naturally goes there, you can start to bring the foot a little bit further and flex your foot. Move the back leg so it's directly behind the right side of your buttocks, pointing those toes and lift. If this pose hurts your knee at all or your leg starts to go to sleep, please come onto the back and take your pigeon on your back or your figure 4 stretch. If you'd like to go on, lift up to the sides, take a big breath in, and then walking forward, start to come down towards your forearms. Wherever you find that you feel a good stretch through the glutes, through the hip, maybe even through the front side of the opposite leg, that's where your edge is. Stay there. If you feel like you can go further, you can start to walk down, laying your forehead down, and try to keep your weight even, right to left across your hips. Spend as much time here as you're comfortable, working layer by layer into those deep rotators, managing your mind when you come up against the edges, and breathe. You're welcome to stay here a few more breaths if, again, you've found yourself in a good spot. If you'd like to work towards the full iteration of the pose, tuck the back toes under, move yourself up a little bit more, and then bend your back knee. Left fingertips in front of you, right hand reaches back for the outside, or eventually inside of your foot. Make sure your foot stays in line with your knee, and then work on bending the elbow, hand to foot, and maybe start to raise the left arm up. This is an advanced variation of the pose, so not everybody has to do this. It's an option. Slowly release that. Pull the left heel in towards you and turn, open towards the right. Parvita Janu Shirshasana, revolve head to knee pose. You can always sit up on a pillow or blanket here, pulling the left heel into the right thigh and bring your right leg as wide as you can. Arms out side to side, and then side bend first, away from that extended leg. And it's totally fine if your hips lift up a little bit, but just stretch the right side of your body. Come back up, and then reach over, right hand to right ankle or foot, left arm overhead, spin the ribs to the ceiling, and slowly start to bend, stretching little by little over. Full iteration for the pose. Take your peace fingers, hook it around the inside the big toe, squeeze the toes together, and then pull your elbow down towards the mat on the inside, and maybe that left hand touches your foot, but keep the rib cage stacked, left side over the right. Press down to the left thigh and slowly come back up. Parigasana, stargazer. Left hand to the floor, right toes turn in, and then swing up, pressing the hips forward and your chest to the ceiling. Take a long yawning reach from fingers to toes. Have a seat back down where you came from, and then gather your right leg all the way back around, cross it over the left knee, and coming into Ardha Matsyendrasana, or half fish pose, twist. If this bothers your bottom leg, you can always extend that leg out in front of you. Hug a hold of the front knee, the right knee, with both hands. Lift your back and find both sitting bones. Continue to feel that root and rise of the sits bones down and the spine up, and then right arm comes up and behind you. Long, deep breath in, slow, deep breath out. Every time you inhale, create length in your spine. And every time you exhale, pull the navel in, lengthen out of your lower back, and twist perhaps a little deeper. Please be patient with the process of twisting. Just like the development of your meditative mind, it takes time to find that nuance in your spine of revolution, of twisting. With your next exhale, slowly come out of that. Take a little counter twist. And then find yourself back into downward facing dog. Maybe stretch out those knees a little bit. You're welcome to cycle through up dog, chaturanga, your choice. And then raising right leg up. Step the right shin forward, coming into pigeon on the second side. Lengthen out through the back leg. Tent up onto the fingertips and take some moments here lifting. As you start to feel your body loosening up maybe a little bit more, coming down, walking forward, perhaps down to the forearms. And if you have yoga blocks, you can always put your forearms on blocks or sit on the front hip on a pillow or a blanket. Staying here, feel that continuous stretch of your hips back and your sternum forward, the two-way stretch of your body. Coming down further, laying on your forearms or all the way down to the mat, yogi's choice. But really, this pose teaches us so much about the management of the mind in places that might be physically uncomfortable. You're welcome to stay here a few more breaths. If you'd like to take the full iteration of the pose, walk back up, pull your front heel in and tent up to the right fingertips, and then bending your back knee and reaching for the outside, or without wagging the leg, the inside of the front thigh, and slowly start to bend your knee, bringing your heel in, perhaps raising the right arm up and find your balance. Lifting up through the spine. This pose is technically a back bend, so really find that support from your middle. And then gently releasing the limbs. Turning open towards the left long side of your mat. Left heel wide, right heel in towards your opposite groin. Reaching out side to side. And side bend away from your extended leg. You can always kind of shake that leg out too. Loosen up the head of the thigh, letting the hip drop with gravity. And then come up and over, grabbing a hold of the left ankle. Right arm lifts up. Spin your chest towards the ceiling. And slowly and steadily working your way over the body. In Parvrita Janu Shirshasana, your head to knee pose is more of a suggestion than a mandate. So think of that sense first of stretching out of the lower back, getting rid of all the hunching from sitting in front of the computer or what else you've been doing. And again, the full iteration, if you can reach your foot, peace fingers around the big toe, squeeze the big toes and the fingers together as you side bend, little by little, day by day, year by year, all the way over. And then slowly come back up as you breathe in. Parigasana, turn the back heel in, press up onto the right knee. And again, imagine you're gazing at the stars here, lifting up, stretching out. And then slowly lower back down. Gather your back leg around, crossing it over the right knee. Continue to drop back into your Ujjayi breathing. Grab a hold with both arms around that front knee. Just give it a big hug, releasing the crease of the groin and trying to settle both sits bones straight down. Again, remember that limitation can always be a teacher. So when you come upon something that feels really tight or limited, try not to just force or lose or hold your breath into it. Maybe back off, give yourself a little bit more space and come into it with a little bit more care and consideration. It's amazing how the body will respond to that. Keep that, raising the left arm up, bring your hand behind you. And then a few more deep breaths here, head stacked over the hips, and every time you exhale, little by little, revolving around. Soften at your jaw, lift out of your lower back, and plant down through your feet. Next exhale, go ahead and gently untwist. And extend your legs, give them a little shake. Turn towards the long side of the mat and bring the soles of your feet together. Baddha Konasana, cobbler's pose. Take your hands by your hips and try to lift your bum up a little bit. Tilt your sits bones back behind you So it's almost like you're trying to stick your tail out. Grabbing a hold of the ankles, flex your toes and push the heels and the balls of the feet together to activate the rotator muscles to help you open up your legs. Keep that sensation and bring your toes together. Lift, and with as strong and lengthened of a spine as possible, begin to bow forward. Now, if your knees feel like they're closer up to the ears, and this is more of like a turtle in a half shell, bring your fingertips behind you, roll the shoulders open, and fundamentally work on extension through the spine. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And then if you can start to fold further forward, you're welcome to walk the arms all the way forward, dropping the forehead towards the feet. And then slowly stack back up. Upavishta Konasana, wide-legged split. Working your heels towards the two corners of the mat, or wider if you have the capability, but again, never forcing. One hand in front of you, one hand behind you. Try to pick your bum up and move your hips forward a little bit more, and you can do that on both sides. Reach your arms out side to side and push out through both heels. Side bend over towards one leg, big stretch out. Come back up, inhale, and go over to the other side, big stretch over. Come back up and bring your fingertips behind you. Keep rooting the thigh bones back and down, tilt forward, and maybe start to come forward with the hands, or all the way down toward the ground with your elbows, or maybe all the way down with your forehead. And again, no one has ever been instantly poof enlightened just because they can touch their forehead to the ground. So please respect your body's limitations when you start to come into these deeper stretching poses. If you have a hold of your balance and you want to work towards it, you can either grab a hold of feet or big toes, and then rounding the forehead towards the ground, but keep your weight back into the sits bones, pressing down and out to the inner thighs. Slowly come back up, whatever iteration you're in. Bring the hands to the creases of the knees and draw the legs together. And then just bring the knees to touch and windshield wiper the knees from side to side. Come to lie down. Bring your feet at the front of the mat. Scoot forward a little bit as you reach forward. Try to use your abdominals. Lay all the way back. Arms by your side. Heels walk in towards your sitting bones. A slow, steady bridge. Press the hips up. Setu Bandhasana. Press down to the arms and reach out to the back of the neck. Lift the hips a little higher. And then slowly articulate down one vertebrae at a time, massaging your back into the mat. And let your tailbone tilt toward the floor. Bringing your spine to neutral, draw the knees to the chest. And then reach for the insides of the ankles or the feet. Happy baby, Ananda Balasana. Try to drop the tailbone and your shoulders back down to the ground and imagine a squat on the ceiling. Knees to armpits, feet to ceiling, and press back with your arms. You can stay like this or practice your side splits here. The hands can always come to the back of the knees. And then maybe reaching both heels out, point and flex your feet a few times. Bend both knees in, draw the legs together, and extend the legs up with the hands underneath the bum. Shavasana, working our way to the final resting pose. Squeeze the legs tight together. The most important pose of your practice. Draw the stomach in. And then come to lie down. Bring your feet to the two corners of the mat. Palms open and close your eyes. Give yourself a good 5 minutes laying and just letting your mind wander. Little by little, quieting the mind by focusing once more on the processes in your body. Tune into the beat of your heart. Feel the sensation of the blood flowing through your body, the thrum of the prana, the vital energies within us all. And as you start to let your body relax more and more, observe the spaces, the quiet places within that are beyond the thoughts in your mind, that are beyond the physical body. And take one more big breath in. Feel as if you're floating up off of the mat. And then as you exhale, like you're laying in quicksand, fully let go. And as you're ready to move on, adding movement back to your fingers and toes, wiggle the hands, roll the wrist, roll the ankles. And then start to draw the knees in towards your chest, one at a time. Gently give yourself a hug. Maybe move the knees around the lower back. Little circles there. Rolling over to one side and come on up to sit. Sitting cross-legged or kneeling. And final meditation here. Place the hands face up upon the knees like two sides of a scale, a sense of balance, evenness, and equanimity. Draw your attention inward and upward towards the center of the brain. And envision a point of light there like a star or candlelight. And as you inhale, allow that light to condense. And as you exhale, allow that light to expand like a big starburst. Little by little, let the tension in your body drain away and a new sensitivity arise. This is the state of yoga. Please bring the hands together in front of your chest, Anjali Mudra, prayer position. Thank you for joining. Namaste.